¿Ustedes son de Colombia?
Sí, somos colombianos, no escuchan la música.
¿Y cuánto tiempo ustedes llevan aquí en los Estados Unidos?
Llevo 2 años.
Cuando ustedes vinieron aquí a los Estados Unidos, ¿pensaban que iba a llegar aquí a este punto a vivir aquí en esta calle?
No, pensábamos que iba a ser una vida diferente.
O sea, vinimos a cambiar la vida. Pensaba que íbamos a cambiar nuestras vidas, no íbamos a estar así como perros, no es como estamos como perros. Porque no somos animales, somos seres humanos. Pero, coño, mira a los niños, tenemos los niños aquí, ¿ves? Una criaturita.
So here on Skid Row, we got migrants that came here from Colombia, and there's little kids here, and they live inside this tent. I imagine they didn't expect their life to be like this when they crossed over the border. ¿Ustedes pensaban que cuando cruzaron por la frontera, eso iba a ser la vida?
No.
No. Y Dylan, ¿te gusta vivir aquí en los Estados Unidos? No. Ya, entonces ustedes pasaron por mucho para llegar aquí a los Estados Unidos,
claro.
Y ahora está viviendo en carpas aquí en uno de los más peligrosos lugares en todo el mundo.
¿Sí?
¿Y tu calidad de vida está mejor aquí que fue allí en Colombia?
En Colombia, estoy 1000 veces mejor en Colombia.
Arguably, America's most effective propaganda campaign has been to convince its own citizens that life outside the US is unsafe. But when Americans travel abroad, they start to see that even in other countries, people still go to work, kids go to school. Society functions. Meanwhile, we hear Mexico means cartels, Costa Rica's too expensive, Colombia's too dangerous, and Finland is just too close to Russia. But what doesn't get mentioned is that Finland is rated as the happiest country in the world, and Costa Rica and Mexico are also in the top 10. Meanwhile, the United States has fallen to the mid-20s, which is its lowest ranking ever. Some of these countries also tend to rank higher in the quality of healthcare and overall quality of life. What surprises people is not that life abroad is better. It's just how exaggerated this fear has been. And that fear has not come from real life experience. It came from us being told the same story over and over and over again until it started to sound true. So for the people who have spent real time abroad, the hardest realization has been just how much of this narrative we bought into without ever actually questioning it.
Living in America, I believe that the main reason why people are so lonely in America is because you do not have third places. What is a third place? Let me explain to you. In Rome, okay, where I lived most of my teenage years when I was managing clubs at the age of 14. Yeah, I was managing clubs at the age of 14 while you guys were still drinking your mother's milk. We used to have the bars, we used to have the school, the house, but then we had the third places, which were the plaza. One of my favorite places when I was 14 was Campo de Fiori, which is this place close to Sanavona. It's the city center anyway. People would just gather there. Some people would then go to the bars and drink, but most of us would just chill there and talk to each other. You would interact with any kind of people. You would meet new people, other schools and stuff. You would get used to talk to people with different points of view. I believe that the main reason why you guys are so divided is because you're not used to talking to people with other opinions. You just segregate yourself in a section of people that all agree on the same thing, and the moment you talk to somebody with different points of view, you freak out and go crazy. That's why you're not capable of talking to other people, and this is why you're so divided. I hate peasants, but yeah, you need third places. The cities should build these third places, or you should have influencers forcing people to meet in third places.
I've been trying to look up what other countries all around the world have been saying about America, and this is all allegedly from other people all around the world. But here are some things that people are saying about us. Australia has now deemed us unsafe to travel. In Norway, they are constantly talking about America and how we have the parallels to World War II and how our societal progression is constantly backpedaling. Germany has actually made an opera making fun of Trump. The UK is also deeming us unsafe to travel to because they believe that we are headed towards a Holocaust. Kim Jong-un believes that we have gone too far. Yes, the leader of North Korea believes that we are going too far. Even Switzerland has now chosen a side. They are finally speaking up, and if it is that bad that Switzerland officially chooses a side, that's how you know it's bad. Other countries talk about how extremely toxic all of our foods are. New Zealand actually categorized us in the same group as North Korea and Russia. Italy is protesting against ICE. Europe now believes that America is considered a dictatorship. Many countries have closed the US to adoption. Other places like Europe and Canada don't even consider us a first world country anymore, even in the medical area, because even though we are medically advanced, what good does it do if nobody here can afford it? New Zealand's travel advisory has gone from a level 1 to a level 2 recently because of the lack of safety due to gun violence and troubles getting in. Canada has been told to ignore all news or medical advice coming from America because they need to look at it as misinformation. Australia believes that we are headed towards another world war. Other countries believe that there is not going to be another election, that we are doomed, and that Trump is now our forever president. And Ireland believes that we have quickly faded right into fascism. Now, this is just some of the things that I have seen in other people's comments comments on videos. So if you are from another country and there are things that I am missing out, please comment, share. Let's see what else everyone's saying about us.
I'm an American. I pay $1,600 for a flat that has no bedroom. That's 2/3 of my income. I'm an American. I work 50 hours a week. I don't have health insurance. I'm an American. I couldn't afford to have a child even if I wanted to. I'm $7,000 in debt. I'm an American. My health is declining because I can't afford Whole Foods because that's too expensive for my life. I am very overqualified for my job, but no one else is hiring. I'm an American. I make my boss hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars, while I can barely keep myself alive. I'm an American. I have never been out of the States. I have never been on a vacation. I'm an American. I make 20-some dollars an hour. A livable wage here is like 30-some. Yet I don't qualify for government assistance whatsoever. On the days I don't work, I'm so tired I just sleep all day. I'm an American. My electric bill is so expensive I sit outside in the heat because I can't afford to turn the AC on in the damn house. I'm an American, and I fear I'm just an average American. I'm living the American dream.
So this Canadian girl came on here talking about her experiences dating American men versus Canadian men. And a lot of people in her comments tussling. And I know y'all like to tussle, but I'm going to tell you I agree with her. However you choose to date is completely up to you. It's none of my business. But I'm just going to talk about certain things that I find to be quite obvious. And yeah, I'm going to co-sign what she said. She basically said that when she's on a romantic date, she said that American men are more likely to send a black truck. They're going to take you to a nice restaurant. They're going to do all kind of things to wine and dine you to impress you. They're more chivalrous. She said Canadian men, when she goes out with them, what she generally finds is that they don't even want to buy a drink and they're looking for you to like maybe buy them a drink or perhaps impress them. And the thing is, they'll go around their boys and think it's a flex. Like, yeah, I'm buying nothing. Boo, boo, boo. They think it's a flex. In the United States, it's a flex for a man to show up and do things that go above and beyond to impress a woman because it is status signaling. It is a signal of their hierarchy in the social rank because America glamorizes hustle culture and capitalism. Canadians, we benefit from a social safety net that keeps us safe. We don't have the worries of getting a hospital bill from having a baby and potentially going bankrupt. You know, we have universal health care and baby bonus. The government's actually encouraging us to have babies and they're actually giving us incentives. We have 18 months maternity leave. American woman have a baby, she's back at work in 3 months. I got to put her child in childcare. And the Canadian government actually gives us grants, if you're a musician, to do music, to record and publish your music. You think that happens in the United States? And then this thing about the kind of pressure that is on a woman when it comes to how she's dating, how she's showing up, and who she chooses to entertain. More than likely, got more high standards, and she's going to hold a man accountable based on what she wants and how she chooses to show up with him as well. Mind you, this conversation is not for every woman, it's for a select few. But a lot of it has to do with standards, and I'm also hold women in this country accountable. A lot of Canadian women do not know and recognize how beautiful they are. You know how many times Americans come up here and say, oh my God, Canadian women are so beautiful? Canadian women are like unicorns. You can find any ethnic mix, any blend, any height, any shape over here. They have so many beautiful women. Women over here are highly articulate. Majority of them are educated. And a lot of them are highly impressionable because a lot of them are not used to shit. American men are very charming and very direct about the things they want and their intentions. Structural leadership is what keeps them in the game. They're going to lead harder, spend more, and they're going to perform masculinity way earlier because it matters. It signals. Canadian culture is we're split, we're equal, we're not transactional. But the truth is everything is transactional because money is the most visible proxy. Let's be for real.
I made a video yesterday about how the rest of the world is viewing America. And when I say America, I mean the United States of America in current day. In reading through all of these comments, it is so astounding how there are things that people are commenting in these videos that I didn't even know was happening. And I think that is the scary part is we know that we're being censored, but we don't even realize how much we're actually being censored to the point where if people want to come into our country, they have to give up the last 5 years of their social media and emails to see if they are anti-Trump. That is dictatorship. That is fascism. And I made this video because there are so many people who have been brainwashed. And I'm not trying to say that in a mean way, but they have been brainwashed to think that other countries now fear us and they fear Trump, so they respect us, and they do not. They fear for us. They feel bad for us. They think we're a laughing stock. They now think that we are a third world country between gun violence, healthcare, maternity leave, free speech, the food that we eat. The list could go on. And I wanted to make this video in hopes that people who have learned to trust Trump, unfortunately, can learn that if the entire rest of the world is talking about how our country is truly not great and we are headed towards a very, very dangerous time, as if we're not already in it, maybe it's time to take a hard look at where you think and switch gears. It is okay to change your mind and to see these things and to say, you know what, this has gone too far. It's okay to be late, but please take a hard look at yourself and think about where you stand.
What's up, amazing people? So in today's video, we're going to react on a couple of videos that are being talked about in America. That is now social stories, nothing else, guys. And in our first video, we're going to talk about the lady that came out and spoke about Canadian men versus American men. Remember, this is the West, but again, they are traditionally very different. They have very different cultures. And for Canadian men, guys, you all know that they are close countries, but recently there has been so much that has been happening between the two governments, whereby the president came out and said that he's going to increase tariffs on the Canadian side, but that was not met with good news when it comes to the reps, because they were really against it, and they were like, no, we are not going to vote for this, we will vote against it. And for the first time, we had this the MAGA supporters and representatives who actually joined the Democrats and voted against that bill of the high tariff on the Canadian. And that tells you how important Canada is. And of course, if you come to their men, the Canadian men and the American men, oh men, as much as they are different, but so close, because those are nations that are closely related in most of the things. So I want also to talk about this particular person that talked about the life, I mean, what it means to be an American. A very emotional video, by the way. This person pays so much for the rent, but this rent, it doesn't actually go hand in hand with the money that they are paying, which brings out the case like, why is America so expensive, guys? I mean, rent alone, like you hear people paying 1,600. I mean, if you are in Africa, that will really help you, like for the whole year. It can take you throughout the year, by the way, depending on how you plan yourself. And also, in some places, it could buy you a piece of land in the rural area, of course, not in the major cities and towns. So you can imagine using a third of your salary to just pay rent. That it's not even worth it. It is not even, and I think it's even like timber kind of houses, not like permanent houses. Whoa, that life is terrible, right? Welcome to Africa, where you will have, I mean, your money will be really, go hand in hand with whatever you'll be paying for. So, what are the other countries thinking about America? At the moment, I can tell you, people have so much, they have so much to say about America. Now America is known to be the country that is chasing away immigrants. They don't want people there. And then, I mean, it's just with a lot of politics. And I can imagine if it was an African country that was, or a third world country that was going through that moment that America is going now, it would have already been labeled as politically unstable, and the citizens of America would have been told, yo, don't go to this and a particular country, because they're not actually in a very stable condition. they are discussing about what should be happening, what should not be happening. The president is saying this, the people are saying this, the leader are saying something else, and we would have been in the red list now. But guess what? It's America that is going through at that moment, at the moment, now as you speak. But no one is coming out to say that, this country is politically unstable and you should avoid it. And now, it's funny that other countries are saying that you should avoid America with all means. Don't go there else. And remember, America is somewhere where people are allowed to carry firearms. I mean, I think and I believe that when it comes to firearms, the only people that should be carrying them are the security personnel, because you can imagine if your friend carries a firearm and then there is a little misunderstanding and this person doesn't know how to manage their emotions, they may end up finishing you just because of a little misunderstanding. That's how dangerous the place is. So, are people really lonely in America? Oh man, this particular topic, they always talk about it. I've never experienced it, but of course, I don't want to experience that. Minding your business, you don't have people to talk to, you're just there. Even if you stay sick in your house for like a week, nobody cares about it, and you have neighbors there. In Africa, even if you don't come out, like just give them 2 days or a day, they don't see you, they'll start looking for you. By the way, it's not normal at all, which is good because it shows the spirit of Africanism. We really care about each other. When you go to social places, you'll interact with people, you'll talk to them, and that is why actually Speed loved Africa with all his heart, because in Africa you'll never get lonely, and also you really get appreciated. Look at Speed when he was in Africa. He received a lot of love, genuine love, by the way. And nobody talked bad to him, nobody insulted him. Unlike other countries where when he goes, he gets to be insulted. And who likes to be insulted? Nobody. I don't like, you don't like, nobody likes. So this particular American was comparing the life in America versus the one in Italy. Like they are two different worlds. Okay, in Italy, people are not. You don't really get to enter people's home, visit them anyhowly. But at least there is a place meant for social gathering where you go meet, talk, and you enjoy. Talking to other people is really soothing. It helps you so much. You speak out what you're going through, and yeah. So the fact that Americans were taught to fear and avoid third world countries is a topic of another day that we really need to look into. And thanks to iShow Speed, because when he came to Africa, he showed Africa raw and unedited. He showed the food, the environment, and it actually cleared out the perception that the Americans had before about Africa, where they were told if you go there, there is poverty, there are lions in the road, they could probably eat you, there are diseases, no clean water, no good houses, only for iShow Speed to show the best of the best. And I'm happy that that narrative is being erased in the minds of the American people that had been taught about Africa is all about charity. They can't actually think for themselves and come up with solutions to their problems. Yet they're the people that created the problem from number one, coming up with an education system that was going to train us to be slaves and workers and not innovators. And then the education system supported innovation, creativity, name them. So highs breakdown is still happening in America, and the people that are suffering the most now are the children. You see children in the streets of America. They are actually suffering, guys, sleeping in tents. And as a leader, as a president, are you really happy when you do something like that? Are you happy? I mean, what will harm you if people stay there? Remember, they're not even getting like the best of the best of the best jobs. They're not getting like government jobs. These immigrants, when they come there illegally or undocumented ones, they tend to work for other people, for the documented Americans in America. Anyway, guys, I don't know what you think about that, because I really felt bad when I saw these children sleeping in tents. Sad. Comment down below. I'll see you in the next video.